Hello and welcome to the Embodied Union podcast. I'm Lindsay.
I'm Charlie.
And today we're going to be talking about sex is fun.
Is it?
It can be fun.
It's so good. It seems really obvious. But for me, I remember there was one time I was making love with a man and he told me to stop being so serious. He's like, you're just being so serious. And I've never forgotten that. And I just used to take sex really seriously, and I didn't know how playful it could be really until I met you.
You want to say that story?
Yeah, so Lindsay is very playful, and one of the first few times we were making love, and I felt you take on an energy that wasn't you. And I'm like, what's this guy doing? Like, he's performing. And to me, because I'd always performed in bed, and when I performed, it meant I was faking it, like faking having a good time, faking orgasms. So I only had one model for like what performing could be. And so I remember afterwards, I was like, it kind of felt like you took on a character there, like you were doing some kind of performance. And you were like, yeah, like sex is play. It's playful. It's like I am acting, I am playing. And it just in that moment totally reframed like what was possible inside of intimacy and sex.
Yeah. And I think thinking about it, like if you have the context that it is playful and it is something that we get to explore and not follow routine or follow like what we should do or have outcome as the focus, then it gets to stay loving and it gets to be present and it gets to be like this beautiful experience every time. Because every time is different.
For me, like it's no secret on our podcast that my experiences with sex have been pretty awful until I met you. So I was always just modeling porn, and like porn is very serious and intense, and no one ever, like, even as a kid, speaking it non-sexually, I wasn't very playful. Like I was the serious kid that wanted to be in my room journaling and reading books. And so I didn't know how to really play. So I definitely didn't know how to play in intimacy. And it's like, it was so performance-based, goal-oriented, getting in, doing the thing. And
it's like a task almost?
For me, it certainly felt like a task and a chore, especially in like long-term relationships.
Right.
But even in like a more casual scenario, I still felt like I had to perform, and it wasn't playful, it was performing while being very in my head around what does my body look like? What am I doing? Are they going to come? Am I going to fake my orgasm yet? So to me, that was performance. So then to watch you drop into like the energy of being dominant, because it wasn't how I knew you to be, it felt like you're putting something on, and I was like, he's pretending. He's pretending to be, like, why is he performing? And now I know that when we come to intimacy, we get to take on these different roles, and I get to now play in the energy of being submissive or play in the energy of a fantasy. And it's like, you gave me so much permission to like lighten up. I was so bad in the bed. I was so bad at sex. I just had no idea. I had no idea where my pleasure was or like anything. And now I get to have this really fun experience.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, my love. But I think, and speaking into that, like, I guess my experience around it for myself has been making it so serious in the past. And
Did you?
Well, just being so outcome focused, being so like there's a lack of sex or
that would
pressure.
Take the play out of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like all these things. It's kind of like I say I want it, but I'm doing all the things that creates me to not have it.
Like what?
Well, just asking for it directly. Like one of the worst things I think a man can do with a woman is be too direct around it and be like,
are we going to have sex tonight?
Yeah, can we have sex now?
It's been a while.
And it's like, no, like that's not how, I don't believe that's how a lot of people, or especially women, sort of like feel into their intuition around it. It's like you don't want to ask like that because it just puts expectation on somebody.
It also, if you ask me like that, you're asking my head. You're actually asking my head a question. It's like, don't ask my head if I want to plug or if I want anal or if I want to have sex. It's like, don't ask my head that, because the answer will probably be no, you know? But if you drop yourself into an energy and create some anticipation, you don't have to ask. It's just like you create the environment for it.
Totally, totally. And I think, yeah, just like the years of, feeling like I have to ask and have permission and get it right and be a good lover and like whatever other experiences that the men are listening and women are listening to when they listen to this podcast, because it's like, oh, here's this couple and they just get to have great sex. And it's like, it gets to be something that we develop and work on. Because to me, great sex is a byproduct of our relationship not having things in the way, not having resentment, having an open communication that feels good. There's safety, there's trust, there's respect for each other.
We're not harboring, like, there's no unspoken words. We're not having sex on top of, we're not operating on top of unresolved conflict.
That's right. And, and I think that's for so many people in relationship, there's the desire to have great sex, or they've had it in the beginning because there hasn't been water under the bridge or there hasn't been things in the way, and they want to get back to that. And it's not that we get back there, it's that we clear out what's actually in the way of having playful, fun, great sex. And I think one of the biggest breakthroughs that I had in my journey with intimacy is just taking the goals out of it. Taking if I think as a guy, it's like sex is penetration, typically, like the way that men think about sex is penetration, and it's done when there's an orgasm. And so if I think about that and project that onto my partner, it's like then there's a you should or have to, or there's pressure for you to orgasm. And like somehow that orgasm is the only way to really be satisfied. And it's like, that's not it. That's not the only thing, Once we start to learn that there's valley orgasms and there's body orgasms and pleasure.
I think a lot of people just, when they haven't dove into this kind of work, their orgasm range is quite narrow. Like I think for a lot of women, I know a lot of women struggle to orgasm full stop. And if they have had an orgasm, it's usually just like a clitoral orgasm. And that is not the orgasm that I am ever chasing, Like when we have sex, that more internal orgasms and like the full body orgasms that are available, I find them so much more pleasurable. And the only way that I'm able to access those is if we are totally slowing down, there isn't the agenda, we're not rushing to meet a goal. And I think that for men and women, they need to expand their horizons on what penetration can be, what orgasm can be, what pleasure can be.
Yeah. And I think this is the whole premise of this podcast episode is really around playing, because what I also want to add to this is play is one of the greatest ways to create healing as well. So, they've done studies around this where it's like, what's the most effective thing for PTSD or for trauma or for all that sort of stuff? And dancing and play has to be it's almost I think it is the highest point or the highest range of effectiveness. And so I think of it like, when was the last time, the listeners here, when was the last time that you actually tried something new, and potentially also not only that, but you tried something new with your partner with the intention that it doesn't actually have to go well? It's like you actually created a space to explore something together in intimacy.
And what do you mean by, and it doesn't have to go well?
Well, it could be anything. You might try a devotional practice. When was the last time you and your partner just did massages for each other, or just tried I don't know, it could be anything, like a blindfold session or a sensory session.
It's that it doesn't have to go anywhere. It can go well and be a beautiful experience, but take any kind of what it should look like out of it.
Yeah.
And just be in the exploration of we're here to play and kind of explore each other.
Yes, because I feel like for some people it's, I want to try something new, but I don't know how to talk to you about it. Like so often I feel like for couples, it's like someone has a desire, but they don't want to expose themselves to their partner in a way that can have them feel shame, which is one of the big tenets of shame, which is unwanted exposure. But it's like sex is the ultimate revealing. It's I guess in a way it's, what's the word? It's like it's the sign or I can't really get the right word, but it's along the lines of like it's a representation of the health of the entire relationship.
Like an indicator.
Yes, there you go. Thank you. Like it does give that as like, we're connecting really well in our intimacy, and it's play and it's fun. And any of the people listening, it's like you see couples in their new relationship energy. They're both glowing. They look good, they feel good, they sound good, they're happy, they're vibrant.
I think we all have like a kink. Like there's all something that we might want to explore, and as you were saying, there can be, the reason we don't name it is because we don't want to be rejected, or we have a bit of shame around it, or maybe we haven't even explored what it could be. But I think that we all need to tap into our darkness, and by darkness I just mean like that shadowy kind of kinky side of ourselves, and be willing to bring that forward to our partner. So, because the honeymoon energy will die, as we say all the time. So I think that a long-term couple can have that glow about them and that kind of vibrancy and well-fuckedness if they're not trying to rely on new relationship energy, but they're tapped into like their dark, kinky side and they're sharing that with each other. It's like, how many women would love for their man to like push them up against the wall, or like be dominant in that way, but they're not really sure how to ask for that. And maybe that's not what it is for you.
Yeah.
But I think we all have a dark side, that the bedroom is the place where we get to play in that. And I think that that is what keeps couples like so together and connected as they ride the seasons of life, having kids, having businesses, having stress. When they're connected sexually like this, it helps you ride the waves of life, the ups and downs, with more grace.
Definitely. I love that. And I love the idea of like, this is the playing in the energy, right? It's like taking it on. Like this could be a woman that wants to dominate her man.
Yes.
Or a man might want his girlfriend or partner to dominate him, or to, be really submissive to him.
We've all got something.
And like, why not? Like, why not explore it? Why not have it be something that can be fun to explore? And what I mean by it is you could try it and it doesn't quite like go the way you think, and that's fine. It's like take a risk with your partner, knowing that that's the person that you can play with. And some of the things that we've done with couples is around the 15-minute game, like doing something together where, we might write a whole bunch of little notes down about like things that we want to experience together in this intimacy practice that we're about to do for the next 2 hours. And it's 10 minutes of hair stroking, or it's 10 minutes of spanking, or it's 10 minutes of whatever it is. And it's just like, we set the timer, the music's going, we have a play, and when it times up, it's like, that was fun. I loved that. I didn't expect that, and we get to surprise each other. And it's the anticipation of that can be really fun as well.
I think if a couple are feeling stagnant in the bedroom, like one of the best things to do is to invest in support and come and learn. Like Lindsay's saying, that game is one of my favorite games that we play, but we have so many like that we teach that can just bring a little bit of like novelty and like back into the relationship. Even if you've been together like 10 years, 20 years, there's always something new to explore when you can just be present with one another. But these little intimacy practices can just be really fun as well. And when you're in the energy of play, it's like you're just not taking it all so seriously, like as you were saying, it can be great, it can be not so great. You might be doing something and then maybe it's like, oh, this doesn't feel good anymore. Can we do another position, or can we stop for a bit? Like when you're in play, you're not taking it all so seriously, you know? Like, think about a child in play. They're not in their head while they do it. And I know so many women are having sex in their head,
Yeah.
which completely takes the energy of play out of it. It's like, be in your body, be willing to be messy or look, like make facial expressions or make sounds. Like, even with you, like before I knew you, I was making sounds, but I was making the sounds that I thought I should make based on the porn that I watched. Again, performance based. And now with
Now what sounds do you make?
I couldn't even, they're so unusual and they're a bit weird, you know, but it's just, they come from a deep place within me. I don't even know. Like, I don't even know I could make sounds like that. But it's like, I'm not in my head about it.
No.
It's just whatever happens, happens. And I'm fully in the trust that, like, you love me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it's like, I want you to have a great experience and not be in your head and just let it all go. And I think with that is just coming back to this play piece, it's the setting it up in a way that it is playful. Like, we set the intention together, you know, and I think couples, you know, like if you're a listener of this podcast, you kind of know the format for us around making agreements and scheduling intimacy time, and that's okay. Like, it makes sense. Like, we're busy. If you don't schedule it, it doesn't really happen. And of course you can have spontaneous, beautiful lovemaking, but it's just like,
you can't.
yeah, but it's just like, but having that designated time or putting time together that's intentional, it's like we can then create anticipation, fun, and exploration inside of that time. It's not another box to tick.
For somebody who has had so many blocks around sex and libido and all the things, for me, it's so healing that we schedule intimacy, because sometimes if we come together and it's a bit more spontaneous, it's like I can go up into my head a little bit about it. But when I know we've got to practice, I know it's coming. I'm committed to it. I'll spend time like putting music on and getting ready. And if I'm the one setting it up, I'm like lighting the candles and making it. I'm like fully invested.
Yes.
So scheduling intimacy has me just be like, all right, we're doing it. Yeah. And I'm in. I'm like all in. I've bought in. Whereas I notice sometimes if it's just we wake up in the morning and we're just there and it could possibly happen, but because we haven't planned it, it's like I go up into my head a little bit, you know? You're great with working with that with me, but it's like the scheduled intimacy just like has me really buy in and available for what's about to happen.
Yeah. And I think just like, I don't think there's too many more points, but just like bringing the laughter, like the thing that I always ask couples is like, when was the last time you laughed during sex? You know, like that's probably a good indicator. And just like allowing things to like emotion to be there, if it's crying, if it's, you know, whatever it is, but like the laughter, like the playfulness, or the making mistakes, or you might bump heads, or just like,
weird
you know,
sounds.
put your hands on someone's hair and then they try and move and you rip half their hair out, you know, like whatever that might be, you know, it's just going with it, having fun, and it's just bringing back that play into the bedroom and into your relationship.
If you're not having sex and it's a problem, it's a block, stop trying to have sex, go and play non-sexually together and let that inspire the play in the bedroom. We often tell couples, stop trying to have sex, which is really counterintuitive to them when they've come in saying that we want to have more sex. It's like, actually just stop, take the pressure off, and let's go and create playing connection outside of the bedroom. It will map across, filter in.
100%, couldn't agree more.
I love laughing with you.
That's so good, my love. And if you're interested in the work that we do, then we have play shops available, like little mini couples relationship, little
dates,
date nights. So things like that. It's just like if you are stuck on choice or not quite sure, then we would love to support you in your relationship. So you can catch me at Lindsay B on Instagram.
I am Charlie S. Hannah on Instagram.
All right, team. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my love. Mwah.
See you guys next week.